Hey everyone, it's Julio Ramon here from Ikan, and in today's video I'm going to assemble the ARRI Alexa Mini rig by Tilta. So what I have here today is I have the Tilta Alexa Mini rig, and I have it broken down into pieces. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this mock Alexa Mini camera to show you how to assemble the rig. So first what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab one of these short plates, turn the camera upside down, and I'm going to mount that to the bottom of the camera. Okay, just make sure it's on nice and tight. Okay, good. Next, what I'm going to do is going to flip the camera back the other way, and I'm going to grab this top plate and mount that next. Now this top plate is pretty unique because it has the ability to distribute power throughout the rig using the power distributor mounted on the back. Now I'll go over that a little bit more when I get to it, but first let me just mount the top plate to the top of the camera. Line it up. It's got 4 screws that mount directly to the camera body. And again, make sure those are on. Tight. Okay, so now next what I want to do is I want to mount the side arms, one on each side. So first I will mount one here to the camera, to the camera's left. I will mount it with the rosette on the bottom. It has, again, 4 screws, 2 on top, 2 on bottom, and they just mount directly to the plates that we just got done mounting. There's one. Turn that around. Grab the other side arm and mount this one in place. Four screws, each one on tight. Okay. As you can see, we now have all 4 pieces tied together. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to grab the base plate, which is a 15mm lightweight studio base plate, and I'm going to mount that to the bottom of the plate here. So I will line up the plate. And there are 4 screws. As you can see here, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll use our tool to get in there and secure it down. 1, Okay, there we go. We have that base plate mounted. Next, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to mount this power module to the top plate. Now to do that, I'm going to remove this protective cover here. So we will take that off. And as you can see, we now have 4 connection points that make contact with our power module. Now we just mount that in place. We screw that in. Now, this power module has 3 different connections. It has one 14.8 volt 2-pin LEMO and 2 14.8 volt 3-pin Fisher connections. So it gives you those power options coming off the side of the rig. Now next, what I want to do here is I want to mount the top handle. And the top handle simply slides in through here. And as you can see, there are some gold connections here that are going to transfer power up through the handle. So now we can take another power module and mount it either on the front or the back of our handle. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and mount it to the front, and to do that we will remove the safety cap. And now you can also mount your power module in any direction that you may need it. So if you need to mount it facing to the right, you can do that. You can also mount it facing to the left. You can mount it facing up or down. It really just depends on the rig that you're trying to set up. Okay, now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and mount it facing the right side of the camera. There's a screw inside here that will attach it to the handle. Okay, there we go. So now we have our power module located on the front of the rig. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to mount this voltage monitor to the side of this power module. As you can see here, there are some 4 connections again that we see, and 2 screws that allow us to attach this monitor to the side of our rig. Now this monitor will basically display your voltage information that's coming from the Pro battery you have mounted on the back. So once we get that all set up, we'll power it on and you can see what I'm talking about. So there we are. So now that we have that set up, I'm going to go ahead and mount our camera to this tripod here. And what I have here is a Tilta dovetail plate that is compatible to the ARRI Alexa Mini rig. And this dovetail is actually an accessory that's available on our website. So I'm going to just slide our camera onto the dovetail. There we go. Lock that in place. Okay, now that we have our camera set up, I'm going to attach our EVF mount. And the way to do that, I'm going to need some rods. Now, this rig comes with 3 sets of rods. You have a set of 15mm 6-inch rods, another set of 15mm 8-inch rods, and a third set of 15mm 12-inch rods. So for this setup, for the EVF, I'm going to grab 2 of the 8-inch rods, and I will attach them to the top of this rod adapter here. Okay, we'll lock those into place. Okay, and I will grab this dual rod clamp that has a single rod clamp where we will attach our EVF. Now I will just slide that in here, tighten that up. Next, I will grab this EVF rod that has 2 screw-on caps, 1 on each side, that will help prevent the EVF from sliding off the rig. As you can see here. Now I'll mount this, clamp that down, and finally, I'll grab the actual EVF mount, slide that onto the rod, clamp that down, and attach the threaded cap back into place. So there we have our EVF mount. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to mount the rods to our rig. Now this rig actually comes with a set of 15mm rod connectors. I'm going to mount one of these connectors just to the back of one of these rods by simply screwing that into place. And I'll grab one of these shorter 6-inch rods and connect that together. So now, instead of a 6 or a 12, we have an 18-inch rod. So I'm going to go ahead and mount that one into place. I'm going to do the same thing to the other set. Thread those together. Slide the rod in. And lock them in place. Okay, now finally, I'm going to grab here the power distribution system that mounts to the back of our rig. Now this power distributor is actually available in either an Anton Bauer or V-mount option. It has a fan mounted on the back to keep it cool. Comes with 1 SDI in, 2 SDI out. We have an EXT in port. We have a 6-pin LEMO power input that can do 12 to 14.8 volts. We have another EXT out located on the bottom. So this power distributor can actually communicate to other ARRI accessories. And we actually have an EXT accessory cable included in the kit. On top, we have ourselves a 14.8 2-pin LEMO connector and 2 14.8 RS Fisher inputs, and also a D-tap output located on the battery plate itself. So to mount this power distributor to the rig, we will simply slide the power distributor in here through the back, lock that down, and plug it in to the camera. Now this top plate actually gives you the ability to extend and adjust the power. So it gives you some flexibility. Now I will go ahead and mount one of these Anton Bauer Pro batteries. And there you go. As you can see here, we now have power running through the entire rig, and this monitor can display our battery information. So here we actually only have one of our setups. We can actually scale this rig down to make it smaller, more compact. I'm going to show you how to do that. So first I'm going to start by just removing the battery. Going to remove the power distributor. Going to remove the EVF mount. Remove the rods. Remove the handle. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this rod adapter located on top. And I will remove the camera here so I can show you that there are two screws that simply hold this rod adapter in place. And I'm going to remove those. One and two. And I'll just loosen these two up. And remove that rod adapter. Now that we remove that, I'm going to remove the top plate. I'm going to take off. I'm going to loosen each screw. And almost there. And we will take this whole system off, and we can now replace it with one of these shorter top plates. Simply just replace it. It mounts exactly the same way. Attach the sidearm. Turn it around and attach the other sidearm. Okay, now you can actually now mount the rod adapter onto this plate simply by lining up the screws and mounting it directly on top of the plate. Now, of course, you won't have the ability to use the power modules on the top handle anymore, but it still gives you a top handle option on a smaller rig. And since we don't need this module anymore, go ahead and remove that. Throw the safety cap back on. There we have a smaller rig. So I'll go ahead and throw that back on to the tripod head here. Now we could still mount the EVF to this system, but we don't have to use all those extra rods or this dual rod adapter, we can actually use this single rod clamp here and mount it directly to the rod adapter. You can see 2 screws alongside the Tilta logo there. So I will go ahead and mount that. And there you can see we were able to reduce the weight by using the single rod clamp system. Okay. Now if you still need to use power, you can still use the power distributor by mounting it to the rods coming out from the bottom. To do that, we will use this 50mm power distributor rod clamp, and we will simply mount that to the rods, tighten that down, and the power distributor has a rail mount here located on the bottom that will allow you to slide in and attach the power to your rig. Lock that in, and there we go. So those are the options that we have with the Tilta ARRI Alexa Mini rig. Now I want to show you just one more accessory, and that is the Pro Battery side mount that allows us to mount a Pro Battery directly to the side of the camera instead of the back. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how that mounts. So first, we will go ahead and remove the power distributor since we won't be using it. So we'll take that off. Now the way this power distributor works is that it simply replaces this sidearm. So what we need to do first is we need to remove the sidearm from the rig. So we will open that up. 4 screws, 2 on the top, 2 on the bottom. We will remove that entire sidearm. Once we've done that, we grab our side battery mount and attach that to the rig. We'll make sure everything's tight, and we're good. Okay, so now that we have the ability to mount batteries to the side of the camera, this gives us the perfect rig for gimbal situations. And it gives us 2 cables here that plug in directly to the back of the camera, one for power, one for EXT, and we have ourselves a power module here that is perfect for things such as follow focus motors or any other accessories that you might use. So for more information on the Tilta Alexa Mini rig or any other accessories that we have, you can visit us at ikancorp.com. My name is Julio Ramon. Thanks for watching.